Hello and welcome to college rugby action from the fantastic campus at UCLA, California, in this D1A CRAA clash between UCLA against the reigning D1A champions, the Bears, University of California from Wallis, Annenberg Stadium here in Los Angeles. My name is Will Hooley, joining you on TVX Sports Media for this great showcase of college rugby, and I am not doing it on my own. I am joined by a college rugby expert, good buddy of mine, Mr. Jeremy Ognall. How are you doing, my man?
Oh, I'm doing terrific, Will. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for the intro. Super excited, I'll tell you, to be here today. Wallis Annenberg Stadium, as you said, on UCLA's campus. What a setup it has, and what a match we have in store. As you said, just two great college programs, and I'm really looking forward to the next 80 minutes with you.
Some fun indeed. There is so much talent on display for both sides, both teams, of course. Strong programs. Jack Clark, head coach, director of rugby, all of the above of Cal, and then UCLA, Harry Bennett, leading what's been a fantastic program under him. We are here brought to you by TVX Sports Video, that's been covering sports in Southern California and around the country for nearly 20 years, and they are committed to bringing you the best live sports coverage. You can show your support for TVX Sport Video, live local and emerging sports here on the YouTube TVX Sports Video channel. Is free, but you can click that button, subscribe, means a lot. It's going to help continue to drive live sports events like this one coming up. And Jeremy, in the context of this year, we know these programs, we know how good Cal is, but also UCLA. Are they very much underdogs today, or can we expect an even showdown?
I think you have to regard them as pretty significant underdogs. No knock to Harry and his boys, but Cal has just been on a tear really since last season, the reigning 15s national champions. So I think it could be a long road for UCLA today. Having said that, Will, I was fortunate to commentate last week when they hosted the Santa Barbara Gauchos, and they were very, very good. They came away with a 92-0 victory and did some really good things in the match. But you also have to put it in context of the opposition, and unfortunately, Cal is no Gauchos, so I think it could be a tough day for the Bruins. But again, still excited for the game ahead.
They have met each other already in a previous tournament early on in the season, where the Bears won, defeating UCLA 45 points to nothing. So maybe there's a little bit of that. Is there the element of trying to get revenge, Jeremy? Or if you're thinking of UCLA, if you're thinking of Harry Bennett, what is he saying to his team in this ultimately David and Goliath matchup?
Stay in the fight. Do what we've worked on in training for the last few months, going from 7s to 15s. Don't try and do silly things that we haven't practiced. Play as much as we can in Cal's end of the pitch and make your first up tackles, be aggressive at the breakdown, and limit your mistakes. They're a well-coached, well-run program. I just don't know that they have the horses to be able to compete.
Taking a look at their lineups then, this is UCLA's on your near side. Jeremy, there's a couple of names. I know one, that number 9, Max Griffith. He is a fantastic talent. Sam Reed at fullback as well. Is there anyone in particular from your side of things of this Bruins team?
Yeah, absolutely. 9-15. I really like Caden Hartley at 13. He showed really well last week in several phases. The best player by far on the pitch for the Bruins last week, though, was the number 4, Jack Pargetta. He's their captain today, and he had a phenomenal performance, all-round performance against Santa Barbara. So I expect to see some really good things from him. And again, he's got some good personnel around him. It's just, execute on what you've been working on.
Take place to start up this encounter. So the anthems have taken place here, and we now have a look at this California Golden Bears team. Jeremy, there's plenty of talent in this. Look no further than that man at number 9, Solomon Williams, but who also is one that you're keeping an eye on?
Well, they're stacked across the board, aren't they, Will? But definitely 9, Solomon Williams. He's the one who really makes them go. Ran Santos, obviously, capped Eagle already and still in college. Very impressive. Across the back line, Oliver Newell at fullback is a threat. And just an amazing platform from the whole front 5. If you look from Cade Christ as the hooker, he's a US under-20 player, phenomenal. Young player, and just the talent, on both sides of him, and then all the way through the 8-man. They'll be using the power game for sure.
They've been very impressive so far this year. A mighty first win against Cal Poly, putting 3 figures on them, and ever since have just been scoring tries and really not letting in tries. It's a very strong program, Cal, led of course by Jack Clark. We are just about to get away here in UCLA as Cal take on UCLA in this D1A CRAA matchup, brought to you here on TVX Sports Media. Thank you so much for joining myself, Will Hooley, and Jeremy Ognall. It is Ran Santos that gets us going, and it's already taken in and taken up into the hands of Cal. Byron Finley out the back to Santos. They go straight into their attack with big ball carrying coming in the midfield from Oliver Sinclair. Already inside UCLA's 22. Williams to Santos, a connection that has been so strong for years now at Cal. The 9 and 10 firing the ball away. Williams using his big forward runners. Santos out the back. It's on, and it looks like a bit of an overlap. Masikoi takes it up. Expect him to pop up and around the fringe as well. He's not just a winger. And expect a popping up from the fringe is a try scorer there for Cal. It is number 4 in the end. Miles Malone gets our first try, Jeremy. What a start by the Bears.
Incredible rugby. It was interesting, Will, watching just from the kickoff. It was almost like it was sevens, just the ball retention right from the kick. You don't see it very often. If you look there again, very simple rugby, well executed. Move the ball through the hands to the backs, and then come back, play your power game. Tight down at the ruck. Big pickup by number 4, Miles Malone. 6'5", 250, hard to stop from that distance, and unbelievable beginning. Not even 90 seconds into the match, Will.
Sinclair will look at the extras for Cal, and as you say, Jeremy, it's a magnificent start. The ball movement is so impressive, and the program as a whole, Cal, has been so impressive. Jack Clark moved himself into the Hall of Fame in Cal athletics not so long ago. I know you know him very well. He's been an absolute veteran of rugby in America, and he gets a good program going, doesn't he?
Yes, he does indeed. And also we always talk about Jack so much, but we can't forget about Tommy Billups, his associate head coach, who's been with him for, I think, 25, 26 years now, who's a rugby legend himself. And, he's the one who puts a lot of the hard graft in the daily, X's and O's of rugby that Cal balances himself again. So I think as much as Jack is an impact, Tommy really, holds his own sway too.
Gets these boys going, that is for sure. I've heard about his strength and conditioning programs. That's why they all look so powerful, fit and healthy, as Masikoi takes it up on that far side. There is just talent all around this Cal team, from the forwards to the backs. Santos unleashes Malone in the midfield, the try score already in this matchup. Out the back to the width, Sinclair, big ball carrying ability, but with a touch as well to offload and move the ball away from contact. Cal, notoriously, they don't try and kick much. They try and build the phases, as Byron Finley, powerful second rower usually, but also a back rower as well, wearing the 6 jersey for Cal today. Keep an eye on him as they just pick and go through the middle, changing the attack up, not just going to the width, but also around the fringes. Solomon Williams orchestrating things, keeping it in hand as Santos tries to look for the offload. It's just inside now the UCLA half. UCLA in the opening 3 minutes have not even touched the ball other than from a restart. Williams picks through the middle, finds a bit of space, kicks it through, but to no avail, as now finally UCLA can mount an attack on that far side, and it gets away from the first tackle. It's a 2-on-1, making it used. This brilliant Sergio Garcia gets over the line, and just like that, Jeremy, UCLA pounce on the counter-attack, and this could be leveled up inside the first 5 minutes.
Well, we didn't see that one coming. You just mentioned they hadn't had the ball aside from the kickoff, and then there's a turnover, a little loose play. I mean, if you're watching here, just moving the ball outside, it actually started with Sam Reed at fullback, and then it was just pure gas on the edge. Look at that pass inside the supporting runners. Sam Reed inside is another option. He wasn't needed. Santos wasn't able to run him down, and now we have a real game on our hands after only one possession for UCLA.
Bennett will be very happy with his side's response to that. A great counter-attack, as you said. Sam Reed just seeing a bit of space to the width, and they went there and they were very, very effective. The conversion looks good, as it is, I think, over. We'll make sure we get a double check on that. Didn't quite see that on the angle that we have here calling the game. So the number 10, Ewan Latimer, the junior, gets it over, confirmed. The conversion was good, so we're 7 apiece. And for you, Jeremy, just for UCLA, what is it that's going to be the key elements if they are going to try and compete with this Cal team as Cal get on the attack?
Well, I'm going to say something very simple here. Use turnover ball and score from it, because that's what they just did. So they took advantage of an opportunity Cal gave them. Now Cal, as you can see, is going back into their, power game, and then be looking to exploit out the back, I'm sure, in the next phase. But there's another turnover, and this is something that will be driving the Cal players mad, and certainly will not be greeted well by Jack or Tommy on the sideline.
Turnover for UCLA, as you say, Jeremy Oldmill, it's where they are going to have to thrive off. If they do get any turnover ball, usually Cal are very secure with ball in hand. Masikoy brings it up over the halfway mark. A strong ball runner, very comfortable just on the edge, but also in the midfield. Sinclair whips it to the edge. What I love about Cal is all their players are more than happy to have ball in hand. As the offload came from the 7, Ryan Winstrom. Into the forward pods now. Patience from this Cal attack. It's a little chip over the top from Ran Santos. Collected though at the back from UCLA. If they came to this near side, there might have been a mismatch. Cal player is on the floor. Looks like that's Masikoy. Ball just nearly sits up into the UCLA player's hands. Not quite though for them, as Cal, they have a man down, and the referee believes that man is going to potentially affect play, and we're going to take a break, Jeremy. But once again, it is turnover ball with UCLA. They kicked that one. Are you expecting, going back to what you were just saying earlier, that the likes of a Sam Reed, the likes of a Caden Hartley, these guys are best on their counter-attack in some open space?
Yeah, absolutely. They're a phenomenal counter-attacking team. They're also a very good kicking team from deep. They don't want to play rugby down their end. I saw a lot of that last week. They were willing to play the territory game, and they did it very effectively, and they've started to do it again today. And even on that sequence, Cal managed to retain possession, but Wenstrom went for a little bit of an over-to-the-top basketball pass that luckily ended up in one of his teammates' hands, but it was a very risky, very risky.
Taking a look then at the tries as Masikoy makes his way, I think, off the field. That was the first try coming in from Malone from Cal, but the counter-attack from UCLA got that try for Sergio Rocher on that far side, the 14 for UCLA, showing the pace to get over, and we have a level game. That is Masikoy coming off. It's going to be a shame for Cal. A dangerous player all around, Jeremy. 2 tries in their last win against the Olympic club. It'd be a shame to see him leave the field.
Yeah, he's very dangerous, isn't he? Having said that, the reserve who's come on from him for him, Emmett, is he's a phenomenal player as well. So yeah, they'll miss some of the power game of Coy, but I'm sure that they'll be happy that they've got a significant amount of depth on the bench to be able to stay in this game. But we do have a contest. You know, after 90 seconds, I thought it was going to be a long day. Now all of a sudden we have a dogfight.
Solomon Williams, who gets it out of the scrum. They go to the far edge to bring in, I think, Emmett Cook into the game as soon as possible. Staying on her feet. Cal just try and grind you down in these matchups. This college rugby, which they have been so dominant over the last 12 months or so, from the 15s game to the 7s game. D1A reigning champions from last year, showing their class, showing their ability to move the ball into the midfield. Solomon Williams sort of rolls and gets it away very, very well. Handoff comes in there from the 13, John Warren. Turnover, though, is excellent from UCLA, and just as soon as Cal get a bit of go forward, the ball gets turned over again.
Yeah, good turnover there. Number 6 from UCLA, Austin Diaz, got his hands on it. I do think they were a bit fortunate. It looked as though he wasn't bearing his weight and then came back on the ball, which obviously you're not allowed to do. But, you know, referees make mistakes, and, you know, UCLA will take advantage of the possession, clear their lines a little bit.
Lines all the way up inside the Cal half. We are still relatively early on in this season so far in the D1A, but Jeremy, just how important, as rankings get placed and we move towards the sort of springtime and the playoffs, how important are these games in the context of the season? There's actually, I'm going to hold you there, just as UCLA go on the attack with a little short, lovely little short line out. Would have come straight off the training pattern. They get out the back, but Cal come up hard in the defense. Ball gets knocked on, stripped in the tackle, so it will come back to the UCLA Bruins. Going back to you, Jeremy, just how important is a game like today, the victory, not just obviously in the context of the here and now, but later down the line for rankings?
Yeah, it's important in several ways. I would say that UCLA is probably looking at it a bit more than Cal in terms of seedings. You know, they want to have a seeding where ideally, if they make the playoffs in the first round, they're not playing, you know, away at Cal or Army or Navy, a very difficult draw. So for UCLA, it's about, you know, trying to get a result, but more important than the result, it's about, you know, just building their performance. They're a building program the last few years under Harry Bennett, who's doing a great job, and they'll just want to see better execution. And so far, we're seeing some pretty decent execution. And I will say we need to give a watch, Will. It looked like Solomon Williams got a little bit of a head knock on that last phase, so let's keep an eye on him.
Good noticing part there as scrum comes in and a massive push forward. Craig Chris, gets the scream of approval from the front row there. USA under-20s hooker providing the platform, coming through that front row. And the great thing about Cal is they attack you from so many different facets of the game. It's not just the width, it's not just their fitness and speed, but also that power up front, Joe.
Yeah, very much a power team. We saw that, you know, we were both there in Indianapolis last May. We saw it. You know, their pack was very, very strong against life. Their backs are obviously, you know, phenomenally skilled, great executors. And, you know, it's a good balance. They don't do anything, you know, like Fiji does in sevens. They just do the basics really, really well. And I've said for years, if you can be brilliant in the basics and you've got athletes who are coachable, you can put a really good rugby team on the pitch. And that's what Cal does year after year.
Cal, though, at the moment, been put under a bit of pressure. Great box kick there for Max Griffiths. So good in the open field with his footwork, but also showing a bit of footwork in his boots. Williams, though, who puts up the box kick and nearly lands into the hands of Emmett Cook on the field, wearing the replacement jersey. Masikoyu's off. So now Cal on the counter-attack as they get the ball back from the box kick, injecting pace into the play. Not rolling away, though, it looks like, from UCLA. So penalty for Cowers. Solomon Williams, he's always on the lookout for opportunity to tap and go. And Jeremy, it's just a matter of how fast it comes from you. The Cal, not usually they have much of a kicking structure, but just from that box kick, they win the ball back, and it's almost like they come alive straight away.
Yeah, very, very quick to come alive. The box kick is not, a massive part of the game. Obviously, they can execute it well as they did there. UCLA will be relying on it from Griffiths a lot more than Cal. But if you watch Cal, the speed they come onto the ball, the way Oliver Newell came in from fullback there on the edge, that's where they start to really cause some havoc, bring in a lot of defenders, and now they've got another platform going forward.
They've got another platform going forward, indeed. It's to that Nate Kaminsky 5 meters out. This will then just go through the forwards, you assume. The power coming forward from Cade Christ, the USA under-20s star prospect, arriving in numbers. It's towards the line. UCLA having to get low, having to try and stop this, as now Solomon Williams to Sinclair, wriggles over the line. It's given, and the second try for Cal. From the centre, the big barreling Oliver Sinclair gets over, and that was an impressive clinical work from the Bears.
Yeah, we just saw the end of the play there, Will, but again, it was started with the line out, good execution, keeping the ball tight, sucking in the defenders, and then an opportunity to go a little bit wider. And then there was no question, 3 meters from the line, that Sinclair, who also could play fly half, coming in from Hong Kong, was going to crash over. I mean, if you look at him, he's a thick kid, and he's also obviously a pretty good kicker as well, which that game very well, Will, don't you?
Back in my day, as a has-been that I am now, yes, I respect any kicker, no matter where it was on the field. There is no such thing as a easy kick. Sinclair looks like he puts the ball through for this one, and therefore some extra points on the board for Cal, and he makes it a full 7 points. The inside centre, who's already had 2 starts in this season so far this year for Cal, and just showing that power, getting over. And I think even for the UCLA player who tried to put a shot on him, came off worse. Looks like a thick ball-carrying ability at number 12, Oliver Sinclair. Of course, Edstrom as well. He's not playing for Cal today, but they've just got strength and depth, Jeremy. It feels like in all positions.
Yeah, they do. They had to make a change, actually, I think yesterday in their midfield. I think John Warren was supposed to start at 13. They had to make a switch. So, yeah, they've got strength and depth. And one of the things you were just talking about, their physicality and their physique, you just can't underestimate the conditioning work that these guys go through. We've said over the years, 1 through 23, obviously different heights, different sizes, but they all look athletic. They all look as though, they're very capable of making the tackles, making the collisions, dominating the possession. I mean, they're a solid team, and they're showing it. But once again, we still have a game. It's only 2 scores to 1, so plenty of rugby to play.
Plenty of rugby to play as Cal get on the attack from the restart. UCLA aiming to go long, try and say to Cal, if you're going to play, you're going to have to play from inside your own 22. It's Santos who puts the boot to ball, a tactic we don't always see from Cal, but sends Sam Reed all the way back towards his own 22. He gets away from one and flings it out to the edge, but that is unfortunately going to go all the way into touch. So when you think of territory gain, and the ball actually went forward, so it would be a scrum as a territory gain for Cal. That is an excellent job.
Terrific job. Great switch of ends. What I'll say there as well is, what a great take it was by Sam Reed over his head, but then he made the mistake with the pass.
Just when we were applauding him for the first try of UCLA from his counter-attack ability, or certainly recognition to see space, that was one that he will not want to see again, as we have another player on the floor, and I think that's Latimer, the number 10, who is clutching his shoulder. And I don't know whether that was from the tackle that he tried to make on Sinclair when the 12 for Cal barreled over the line. So already a few players have gone down. We're also hearing that Chris Biller, 19, wearing 19 for Cal. He's on for the number 7, Ryan Wedstrom. So Jeremy just shows it's going to be a physical one, as both sides are having to make a few early changes.
Definitely a game of attrition so far. I think it's not helped as well, Will. Southern California is baking right now. I'm sure it's probably mid-80s to close to 90 on the pitch. And I feel blessed that we live here when you think of what's happening in the south and east of this country with all the snowstorms and cold. But I think the weather is going to be a factor. Conditioning will tell. And then, yeah, it looks like we've got a couple of significant injuries with Coy, and now with the fly half. It looks like a fly half change at UCLA, which will make, again, their job a lot harder, and now they've got space to attack.
Solomon Williams goes on the attack, and he literally picks off a 2-on-1, and a 2-on-1 he finds with Nate Kaminsky, and a third try, which looked all too easy for Cal off that scrum. And for UCLA, as they've just lost their fly half, who's had to exit the field with an injury, it becomes all a little bit harder as well with that third try for Cal, Jeremy. And a wonderfully easy bit of movement on that far edge.
Yeah, easy movement. Great 2-on-1, as you said. Pick up by Solomon Williams. He attacks the line, draws his man, pops it outside to Kaminsky. Easy score, 19-7, kick to come. And it looks like the Cal engine is starting to rev a little bit more.
Kick to come then on the far side. Be a tricky one to get the extras. Wonderful day here in California. You've got to say it's January. How is it January? And it's like this. Cal for the extra 2. Kick is up, and the kick is no good. So it will stay at 19 points to 7. But Jeremy, the ability for Solomon Williams, what I've always loved about him is he has that sevens attitude, his acceleration away from a breakdown, from a scrum, and ultimately that just enabled him to get on the outside and create that 2-on-1 just from his pace.
Yeah, he's pacey. He's a very intelligent rugby player. He reads the game well. You know, we saw him in the fall playing sevens and just dominating pretty much every sevens match he was in. And the other thing about him, to be honest with you, Will, is he's an even better person than he is a rugby player. He's just a phenomenal young man and a pleasure to be around. And I'm looking forward to seeing him take his game to the next level upon graduation this year.
I enjoyed actually bumping into his dad here where I live in North County, San Diego. Great work that he does for the club rugby scene around here. It's very much running in the family then, as Solomon Williams wearing the 9 jersey for Cal. He's dominated that jersey now for a number of years as a Golden Bear. UCLA get the ball in to the line now. Was tried to get picked off by Cal, but they do remain with the ball, the Bruins. It's Harry Bennett's side. And also, quick mention, Todd Thornley as well. He's come in, the former CWU head coach. He's now part of the coaching group with Harry Bennett, also part of the California Legion Major League Rugby professional team. No doubt he will add a lot to the UCLA program as they try and get themselves out of their half. Physicality of Cal comes at you thick and fast with the line speed as well. Brought to deck there is the Bruins player. Still going nowhere. Just wonder whether they might opt for the kick. Griffiths still uses his forward pack, the 9. So talented in space as they keep hold of it. Into the field, of course, is the number 22 for UCLA, Nico Di Matteo. Penalty for Cal then, so this will just allow the Bruins a little bit of breathing space, Jeremy.
Yeah, they if you watch Cal in those sequences, probably 5 or 6 phases there that UCLA ran. Cal is so good in tight quarters. They're happy to defend. They stay on their feet when they need to stay on their feet. They compete at the breakdown when they feel there's an opportunity to compete, perhaps look for a turnover. You know, unfortunately, end up in a penalty. Unfortunately for Cal, end up in a penalty. But again, some good carries here. But the defense was solid. Just, you know, an infraction there, and so UCLA can play down Cal's end, and they need to put some phases together and stay down inside the Cal 10 and ideally 22.
Ball from the line out does land into Bruin's hand. It wasn't incredibly controlled, but they continue just to mount forward. Good pick through the middle, but on his own, and the referee awards a penalty to Cal. No release, or holding on, sorry, at the breakdown, and Cal get the ball back just like that. And when you look at the two sides and the physicality, the size of the Cal forwards, feels like every set piece is going to be under pressure, whether it's a scrum or a line-up. Ball goes out there, just over the 10-meter line. So a good territory game from Ran Santos, as Cade Chris asks a question to the referee. I'm not sure what he was asking. As Jeremy, we now see Cal already back inside the Bruins half from the set piece. Ball comes in, goes through the hands of Byron Finley, but picked up well there by the number 5. That's Arthur Braxton. Williams to Santos. Inside ball, beautifully done. Back to Santos, linking up with his player. Great attack from Cal as they move it to this edge. Sinclair to the width, and over the line it is. It's number 15, Oliver Newell. Orchestrated though by the fly half, Ran Santos, through the middle a few phases ago, but it's the fullback who falls over the line, and it's another try for Cal.
Yeah, if you take a look at here, nice hands. Santos created something initially. They just moved ball, you know, good strike running there. Fairly even, easy finish there for Oliver Newell. You know, he knows what he's doing. He's out of Harrow School in London, one of the top rugby schools in the UK, and he showed his capabilities there. And Cal took advantage there. They actually had a bit of a sloppy line out, but the ball went to their hand, and once it got to Santos, then, you know, that was all she wrote.
His first score today, and it's the 4th try already for Cal. Sinclair lines this one up for the extra 2. Struck it really well, and that is just going to come off that left hand upright, so it remains at 24 points to 7. But really it was the phases before that, the link up, Santos with the inside ball, then back to the playmaker, got through that UCLA defense. And you mentioned it earlier before this game started, Ran Santos, already a USA Eagle, and he's still playing college rugby. There's Don Bisaga, St. Mary's as well. How good is it, Jeremy, that we're seeing these college players really rise all the way to the top of the game, and they're still in the college ranks?
Absolutely. It's a reflection on them as rugby players. It's a reflection on the programs they come from. Obviously, Cal and St. Mary's, both two phenomenally run programs. You know, St. Mary's with Tim O'Brien. And yeah, they have very good rugby players. And now look at this charge down the field. Well, I'll turn it back to you.
Oliver Kirk takes matters into his own hands, but it is unfortunately knocked on there. It could come from anywhere. Cal, their power from their own 22. Delivery is all the way inside the opposition 22, but no, going back to it, Ran Santos being obviously a very talented player. Just here, quick little look at the big hit coming in. No, takes it away from us. No worries though, we might see it again. Santos, yeah, such a talent, and when you look at the US landscape, having a playmaker, domestic playmaker, I don't know about you, Jeremy, but that excites me for maybe the future of USA Rugby.
Absolutely. We need more of them, don't we? If we want to be able to compete as a country on the world stage, we need several Solomon Williams, you know, Ran Santos, you know, many of the others. Many of these young men that we see on the pitch today will be looking for opportunities in 27 and beyond.
Reset at the scrum then for the Bruins. Every set piece is going to be under pressure. You wonder for someone like Max Griffiths, it's about getting the ball in and probably getting the ball out as quick as possible. Rico Di Matteo wearing number 22. He's come onto the field as, unfortunately, Latimer, the number 10, has had to exit with a shoulder injury. So there has been already some early changes to this game because of being forced due to injury, as Griffiths puts the ball in and looks to try and get it out as soon as he can. Di Matteo gets on to set the pass, and it's a dummy and go, and a great break up through the midfield from the number 13 Hartley over the top. Sergio Rachera is going to get there. What a try for UCLA Bruins. Straight from the scrum. Fantastic through the middle. Credit to Caden Hartley, the 13, and a wonderful second try for the winger of UCLA.
Yeah, it came from a scrum. They were really under pressure. Great step inside there by Hartley. He's got his head on the swivel, sees the opportunity outside. Great finisher on the edge. We've seen him twice now. And you know what it shows for UCLA is they probably should stay away from the tight quarters match because they're losing those contests, and probably move the ball through the hands a little bit more and see how effective they can be, because so far it's been fairly effective for them.
Impressed by Caden Hartley last week. Big tall presence in that midfield, and the dummy and go, there was maybe a little bit of miscommunication between Santos and Sinclair, the 10 and 12 of Cal, of how Hartley managed to find the space and run through the middle. Wonderful pass over the top, and Rachera gets over for his second try of this match. So the Bruins with the kick. Is the kick good? Again, I can't tell you from my position, but unsure from that one. It looks like it's 24 points to 12. And the conversion was given. So there we have it, 24 points to 14 for UCLA. They get themselves a little bit back into this one with just over 10 minutes remaining of the first half. Here on TVX Sports Media, myself, Will Hooley, joined by Jeremy Ognall, as the ball is just knocked on by Cal. And I think maybe it's a good time, Jeremy, just to ask you overall, as Cal do have the upper hand so far in this first half, like, just how difficult is it for the other programs out in the US to compete with Cal? Are they favourites to go and retain their title this year?
I would say you have to say they're favourites. Having said that, it's no walk in the park for them. There's some very good programs. If you look at the last few years in D1A and CRAA, the gap has closed. You know, typically you would always talk about Cal as number one, and then who else was going to be in the mix. Right now, year after year, you can say, is it Cal, is it St. Mary's, is it Navy, is it Army, is it Life, is it Lindenwood? There's probably 7 or 8 programs who are what I'll call on that elite level. And then what I'd say is you have programs like UCLA and Grand Canyon and Arizona, you know, who are all, you know, probably in that next tier and aspiring and finding a way to get up to compete with those top 6 or 8 teams. So there's going to be some really good rugby ahead between now and the first weekend in May when a champion is crowned.
Griffiths takes the ball in and gets it out straight away over the gain line from UCLA. Good, solid front foot ball. They decide to kick on that front foot, and it's a really, really good bit of territory gain for the Bruins. Under pressure is Newell. He's already scored one. Calm, collective by the fullback there, really silky. Could have easily rushed the kick, but instead dummies it and gets himself out of trouble. Santos decides he will kick. Long down the field. Sam Reed picks it up then, wearing that blue scrum hat for the Bruins. Now into a bit of a kicking duel. Solomon Williams, he doesn't always kick, and he passes it, offloads. Trying to get an attack going. It's Newell who was taken into contact. Some counter-ruck from the Bruins. Puts Cal under pressure. Away it comes. Spilt in the tackle. So Bruins now have the chance of a counter-attack. They've been pretty lethal in the couple of occasions they have had so far in this first half. But it's going to be brought back for the forward, and for the Bruins, it actually a kicking game. Jeremy gaining the territory, putting the pressure on Cal because they don't always kick. Is that maybe the tactic that you can see Harry Bennett has said to his side?
Yeah, we talked about it earlier in the match, didn't we, Will? They want to play territory. They don't want to be playing in front of their posts. They do have a good kicking game, both off 9, 10, and 15, and they're showing that. And then the other thing, clearly, is they are capitalizing on several very unusual Cal errors, just like that opportunity there. A little loose into contact, knock on, and now, again, UCLA has an attacking scrum. So 8.5 minutes still left in this first half, and we really do have a match on our hands, which is a bit of a surprise, but, you know, good on the Bruins.
Bruins fighting here in this first half. Cal 24, UCLA 14 in a beautiful afternoon in Los Angeles. UCLA campus, Wallis Annenberg Stadium. In this D1A college showdown, Cal, the reigning champions, going up against their Californian rivals here in the sun and the heat as well. You mentioned it earlier, Jeremy. I mean, for the sake that it's January, this is a seriously warm 80s plus Fahrenheit heat that is shining down on these two sides out there. So the Bruins will get the ball in and get pressure put on them by the power of Cal, and it is a turnover. It is a scrum penalty. UCLA cannot afford to be having that ball too much in that scrum, Jeremy. It's another penalty given in favour of the Cal front row.
Yeah, the Cal pack obviously starting with the front row. I've been watching their tight head. Obviously, front row play is not my specialty or yours, but if you watch, Tuli Tuamone there at the tight head side for Cal, he just gets in the great body position, and his opposite number just isn't able to handle his physicality or his body position, and the result is another penalty, another attacking platform.
Attacking platform inside the UCLA half is big Byron Finley. Tells the UCLA defense to get off him as they just rumble their way forward. Solomon Williams to Santos out the back. Sinclair moves it on. Lovely hands, and just when I say that, the ball goes behind the attacker. It looked very nice on paper. Ball out in front. The last pass just going astray. And what I love, Jeremy, is as much as I know as well, as any little errors, Tom Billups, Jack Clark will be disappointed in that.
Yeah, if you look at the replay, great boot movement through the hands. Just that one last pass goes a little bit loose behind the back, goes into touch. Now it'll be a line-out escape opportunity for the Bruins. I don't have the stats in front of me, Will, but we have to say there's probably been 7 or 8 turnovers by Cal that has really stopped a ton of their momentum, and they're going to have to clean that up at halftime going into the second half, and I'm sure they're going to get a ripping from their coaches for being a little bit sloppy with the ball.
They managed to win the ball back, though, because UCLA were a bit sloppy from that line out. A little bit of a gift. Finley through the middle, gets over once again the gain line as they pull it to their midfield. It's bumped in, it's away, and what a hands from Ran Santos. Just one-handed assist to Nate Kaminsky, who gets another try this afternoon. But if we were to take a look back at that, Jeremy, it was the swift bit of handling from the fly half of Cal who managed to set up his winger for the try.
Yeah, well called there, Will. If you look through the hands, just great offload here, and then just a tip on right there. Very clever, avoid the contact. Kaminsky with a fairly easy dot down. He won't have many easier than that. But once again, what we were talking about a second ago, Will, is when Cal holds onto the ball and executes like that, they're almost impossible to stop. So they have to clean that up, which they did in that sequence, and let's see if they do more of that, because they're deadly when they're on that front foot and executing.
Kaminsky, the try scorer, once more as Sinclair lines this one up. As it looks to be very, very good. A great kick there by the centre. Nate Kaminsky, though, with the try. California native. His major is in data science, and his father John also played rugby as well, University of San Diego, the USD. I'm wondering, maybe you might even know of his father, Jeremy. I don't want to put an age on you, but at the same time, you maybe know of the Kaminsky family.
Well, I have to say I'm laughing, man, that you don't want to put an age on me, because every time we work together, you put an age on me. So I'm not familiar with his father, no. I probably was playing in San Diego about the same time that he was down there. He was down there from '89 to '93, so I was a San Diego resident at that time. I don't know if we ran into each other either on the pitch or off the pitch, but what a family, what an incredible family. And one thing, speaking of age for a second, just a quick note, I actually played rugby in San Diego with the father of Cade Christ, the Cal hooker, Dave Christ, very good rugby player in his day. And so, rugby does go through the families for sure.
It does indeed. As rugby also being very much a hotbed here in California, Southern California in particular. As Cal then scrum on the halfway mark. That is a lovely kick from Rand Santos, showing everything in his ability. That will be a 50-22 as well, because the kick did come from inside his own half. That's an excellent bit of skill there from the Cal number 10.
Beautiful touch, beautiful vision. 5 meters out now. They'll be wanting to punch one more in before halftime for sure. So great execution by Santos.
It now gives this opportunity for the Cal forward pack to get the maul going all the way towards the line. They do, and it is try time once more. It was ominous for the Bruins. It was effective by Cal, and it looks like that's number 19, Chris Biller. He came on replacing Ryan Winstrom earlier in the game. He gets his first try. Jeremy, that was like something from the training ground.
Absolutely, great execution. Line out, throw at the front, set up your maul. Guy at the back, Chris Biller with the ball, and all of a sudden, another score on the board. And we just talked about families, Will, a second ago. The Biller family, big rugby family. His father played All-American level for Cal for many years, won several national championships. So once again, it's great to see the generations passing it on to their sons. And again, this is the future of the game, so that's why we love it.
Sinclair then lines up another impressive right boot he has got. Lines it. Looks like this one just drifting down the left side, so it's going to stay at 36 points to 14. And I actually think the referee says that is the end of the first half. So, Jeremy, I'll kind of leave a thought with you. Cal showing their class, UCLA showing their fight, but it's the Bears who are 36 points to 14 up.
Yeah, good words there. Class by Cal, good fight by UCLA. There'll be a lot of words and adjustments being made in the Cal huddle right now, because they will be disappointed. Even up, 22 points, they'll be disappointed in, many of the schoolboy errors they made. For UCLA, they just have to stay in the fight, not be as much at the contact point, because they're losing the contact. They need to move the ball through the hands, get it out to the Sergio Rochas of the world, the Caden Hartleys, and then they have a shot. So it'll be interesting to see what the next 40 minutes have in store, Will.
As both teams head to the shade, you can just see the warmth and the heat here in Los Angeles is definitely going to potentially impact the second half, as both teams will fatigue. Might be a matter of who is the fitter side. For Cal, they certainly have shown their power early on in this game. And I mentioned earlier to you, Jeremy, Jack Clark. Let's just talk briefly about him, because I did mention at the beginning, Jack, who was put into the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame. Sorry, I got that slightly wrong. The Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame. To be around a program for 45 years and then 43 of them as head coach, I remember doing a small video on it, because I thought the whole story is pretty incredible for any sport, let alone rugby. It is a very impressive program he's put together overall.
Oh, incredibly impressive. Since almost day one when he took over, this program's been building and building and building. It's fantastic that they're a varsity sport on campus, so they get a lot of school administration support, as well as support from an incredible alumni, a lot of donations, great recruiting globally. As you can see, we've got kids on the pitch here from London, from Hong Kong, as well as many domestic locations, East Coast and West Coast. And yeah, it's a program to admire, clearly not to fear. You want to go in the game believing into the match, you believing of a contest on your hand. But again, credit to Jack and Tommy. I think Jack's probably in about 12 different Hall of Fames by now, and good on him, because he's serving not only his country, he's serving it, internationally as a player and as a coach. And then he's also serving, Cal Berkeley in the most impressive way. So very proud of the work that Jack has done, for sure.
His side is winning 36 points to 14. We will have a short break ourselves. Do not go anywhere here on TVX Sports Media. TVX Sports Video is showing you this Cal versus UCLA D1A action match from the Wallis Annenberg Stadium in UCLA campus. 36 points to 14, Cal lead. Myself, Will Hooley, and Jeremy Ognall will be back in a couple of minutes' time. Welcome back then here to Wallis Annenberg Stadium in the UCLA campus. It's Cal that are leading though, 36 points to 14. What's been an action-packed first half. The reigning D1A CRAA champions showing their power, and they got themselves on the scoreboard very, very early. Jeremy, it has been a fight from UCLA, but ultimately the showcase really has been about Cal in this first opening 40 minutes.
Yeah, definitely a Cal showcase. But as you said, I mean, UCLA's been in the fight. And if you look, where they've done the damage is definitely through the backs. There's been some fall-off tackles by Cal that have led to a couple of scores for UCLA, maybe some bad positioning. But when Cal plays the power game and then moves the ball to the edge, that's where they're most dangerous. And you saw some great opportunities like this one here. Just Solomon make the decision, draw the man out to Comiskey, scoring on the left wing, and he's the right winger. And once, you'll see him on the other edge. So great first half for him. Oh, actually, sorry, this one was to the fullback. I apologize. That was to Newell. The next one will be to Comiskey a bit later in the match.
Well, it has been some times when the Bruins have shown their quality. I mean, you've talked enough about him before the game. That was Caden Hartley, but really, it has just been mostly about Cal. And this is the one you're alluding to for Comiskey in his second try. Great hands from Ran Santos. He's had a really controlling first 40 minutes and finished off in the end by the power up front. And it doesn't matter where they strike you, it is usually with force, and it's effective, and it usually ends up in points, Jeremy.
Absolutely, the power of the force, and we're going to see it now. We're getting ready for the second half kickoff, so I'll turn it back to you. But we've got a really exciting 40 minutes ahead, and let's see if UCLA can hang in there and take some more strike opportunities.
We've got 40 more minutes of rugby in front of us here in this D1A showdown in California. The referee just making his way back onto the field as the players are in the heat of the sun. If you are not in the California region, and you're probably looking through a bit of jealousy at these pictures, it is in the 80s, the sun is shining, the blue sky is out. It is a beautiful day for this matchup. So UCLA will get us back underway in this clash as Cal will continue to mount the pressure, mount the attack, and mount the physicality as they do so from the kickoff, just like that. Solomon Williams at 9 and Ran Santos at 10 are the ones orchestrating things at the moment as the Bruins make some tackles on this near side. Cal deciding to keep the ball alive. They do it so well. There has been occasion that first half where the pass has gone a little bit astray, and there has been a couple of turnovers. That is when UCLA have looked their most lively. So far, Cal just keep it in the forward pack. Keep it up the middle, and they still look to be going forward. Santos steps back on the inside, caught well by the defense of the Bruins. The current, very much a USA Eagle. Made his debut, Ran Santos, in 2024. Hasn't played since, but no doubt many more Eagle caps are to come in his career. He's still only here at college level so far. It goes out to the width. It is not forward or not back by a UCLA hand. So Cal continue to have the ball. It's a little bit scrappy, and in the end, the whistle is going to be blown, Jeremy. So I guess from Cal, it's kind of been a bit of a story so far. They have been powerful, they have been brilliant, and they've also had times when they've been a little bit untidy.
Yeah, you mentioned the term scrappy. I think in two ways. I think UCLA's defense is being scrappy to hold them, down closer to the Cal 22, and then just some scrappy loose play. If you watch this replay here, again, great opportunity just moving the ball, and then there's just another loose pass, one of probably 5 or 6 that we saw in the first half, and they have to cut those out if they want to keep the scoreboard ticking over. And once again, I think the lesson at halftime probably hasn't been taken on yet by Cal. We'll see if it is in the next few minutes.
This is one area, though, that has been a very much a domination up front, the forward pack and in the front row. Okay, Chris, the hooker, loves it. That's another penalty at the scrum to Cal. And that will be a set-piece dream for the Bears if they continue to have it this way. As the kick from Santos is long, but it doesn't go out. So kept in play by UCLA Bruins, and they managed to just eat off a little bit of territory. It will be a California line out on the 40.
Yeah, a mistake there by Santos not making touch, but it didn't come back to bite them too much. Still a good attacking platform on the UCLA 10, so let's see if they can get into the game and hit the edge again. Look at the big carry again. That's Tuamone. We've talked about him a few times in set piece and in the loose. He's definitely a destructive rugby player.
Some big guys across the field playing in the Bears' colours as the ball just goes loose again. Really, it's their own mistakes so far from Cal that is putting them under pressure. Byron Finley gets an offload away, but not expected. And the ball goes to ground. Newell does well just to recover, get back on his feet. Finley takes it up. You wonder now whether Williams and Santos might just decide to go to the boot, but it's turned over from the Bruins and some excellent hands and just about forced to the sideline. But a bit of confidence for the Bruins there. Good defense, good turnover. It could have been a chance.
Absolutely, it was a chance. And again, coming from a turnover, I think every opportunity that UCLA has taken advantage of today has been from Cal turnovers. So once again, we said it, for the last, 44 minutes. Cal's got to clean up their passing game, their handling. They're a little bit loose in contact. They're dominating the set piece. And so if they can get ball retention, they can put a few more points on, like we're looking to strike on the edge now.
Exactly what they're trying to do with the hands of Newell. Fullback already has a try for Cal so far in this match. Williams to Santos, moves it into that midfield, but met hard at the gain line by the defense of the Bruins. Sinclair into the game, and a strong opening 40 minutes. The centre wearing 12, but another turnover from the Bruins. It's Griffiths who puts it downfield. It's a good box kick, and it's a really, I just thought that might have bounced in play first. There's a conversation going on with the assistant referee. We're just going to wait, because if that kick did bounce in play and roll out, I question whether maybe it might have been a 50-22 from the scrum half. It was an excellent turnover. Just wait to see this. Jeremy Ognall, that is a brilliant play from the Bruins number 9.
Brilliant play by Griffiths. I'm not sure why there was so much conversation between the assistant referee and the man in the middle, but they got it right. It was definitely a 50-22. And again, Will, it came off a turnover.
Take a look at this again, Jeremy. As you say, another turnover. And that is ultimately where the Bruins have really capitalised.
Yeah, that's really the only opportunity that they've been having to capitalize. And credit to them, they're creating those opportunities. They're not doing nothing to create them. So they are creating those opportunities, and now they just have to turn them into points. They're having quite a lot of possession now in a good part of the field. And here they go quickly, and unfortunately too quickly for them.
And the referee is going to bring it back for Max Griffiths. You've got to respect a number 9 who wants to inject energy into the game here. The penalty was awarded. Big Jack Pargetta, good to see his hands on the ball. Hasn't had too many carries so far in the match, the captain for the Bruins. Watch the 9, he wants to go quick. Falls over, well, it's the knock forward, but the referee did say he was obstructed, so it came back for the original penalty. Maybe a bit of fortune, a bit of luck there for the scrum half. He got away with it.
Yeah, he got away with it. Mistake by Cal playing the 9. He can't play the scrum half at the ruck. You have to leave him alone. They didn't. And so he went for the quick tap, a little loose with his tap. But again, they still have a platform about 12 meters now from the Bruins try line. And again, as I said a minute ago, they've got to put these opportunities in, because they won't be down here too often, I feel.
Now the Bruins get their own platform going. It's a good line out. Cal repelling it so far. It's not going anywhere. Big carry coming in the midfield, but the ball just goes behind. Big Caden Hartley, the 13. We've already seen him so far in his ability in this match, and just like that, from defense to attack, Cal back with the ball in hand. Oliver Newell, who keeps hold of it. Turnovers from a legal position from UCLA, so chance goes begging there for the Bruins.
40 meters the other way and a penalty, probably another 30 or 40 meters to come. So once again, not taking advantage of field position. Good stout defense by Cal, and now they've turned, defense into attack just inside of looks as though they're just inside the Bruins half, right on halfway. So once again, looking for a good line-out platform here to move further down the pitch, and they've got it. Oh, the ref's called for something, so I'll leave you to assess what's going on there, Will.
Sometimes none of us know what's going on, other than the referees in the middle. Ball was told to come back and restart. Maybe it was not from the right mark on the sideline. So Kay Chris will have another opportunity to get the ball in. Finds his man at the front. There's now a drive comes on from Cal. It was very successful in that last try in the first half, as they just slowly move their way up the field. Continuing to go forward. The Bruins will need to stop this if they can. Broken away in the end there from Cal. Penalty advantage. And the referee is going to blow. Williams tap and go, and away he goes. The scrum half, who loves to inject energy into the game. Cal now move themselves inside the UCLA 22. Into another forward pod. Getting some width on the play. So dangerous on that outside channel as Santos goes out the back with Sinclair, who he goes out the back to Kaminsky. Can he make it a hat-trick? I think he can, and he will. Wonderful score, wonderful hat-trick by the winger. And Nate Kaminsky finishing off a fantastic move by the Bears. It's our opening try of this second half.
Quite brilliant execution there by Cal. Here's Kaminsky. Well, let's take a look at this replay. Good forward, sealing possession, just moving the ball out the back here. You've got your strike runners. Kaminsky sees a gap, cuts back inside of the fullback there, almost untouched. Very deadly close to the try line, and a very, very good score. And once again, Cal showed there that when they're patient, when they let the forward runners develop some momentum and hold on to the ball, just how dangerous they can be.
Try that far edge. It's made to look pretty simple. Clinical work by the Bears as Sinclair lines this one up. Most of his conversions have been in difficult positions on that right-hand side of the field, but he's got a few. He's also missed a couple. This one goes up, and this one is good. The flags go up, so that extra 2 points for Cal means it's 43 points to 14. Jeremy, if you're looking at Cal and seeing the way that they move the ball out the back, they get it to the edge, if you're UCLA, if you're Harry Bennett as head coach, are you probably looking at trying to put that Cal offense a bit more under pressure, a bit more line speed to prevent maybe that extra pass getting to the width?
Yeah, line speed would help. I think the challenge, though, Will, is they're just getting handled so much up front. The physicality and pace that the Cal forwards are bringing, their pods are striking really well. So Bruins are having to amass numbers around the breakdown in order to try and defend tight. And once they do that, they get outmanned in the backfield. And Cal's attack, again, once they pass the ball with crisp execution, they would not lose hands, then they're able to dominate. Here we have another opportunity driven by the forwards, but once again another turnover, which we'll see what the Bruins do with this possession.
Bruins do get the turnover and stay in play. Griffiths puts boot to ball again. This time it is no, just stayed in play, and it actually came off the hand of a Cal player. So the lineup will be to UCLA, and big figure of number 4, Jack Pargetta, the captain. He'll walk into this and no doubt call the play, call the line up. So we take another look. Some of these big hits going in, and they're going to have to be matched. The UCLA forwards are going to really have to match some of the dominance that Cal are displaying up front. They do eventually get the turnover, so that's why we have a Bruins line-out inside the Cal half. Sending it into the middle of the line-out turnover, though. Byron Finley gets up. Athletic number 6, perfectly used to that second row role as well. As they now get it into the front row, Oliver Kirk trying to get quick ball. Sinclair out the back to Santos on the loop. Santos keeps the ball alive. Excellent play now from that number 19, Chris Biller. He's already scored today. Chris picks it up, doesn't really know where to go, but takes it back into contact. And in the end, it's a penalty. Santos wants to go quick. He doesn't. And just like that, Jeremy, from UCLA having a line out in the half of Cal, it's like a matter of seconds and a blink of an eye, and they're under pressure in their own half.
Yeah, and once again, I think that Solomon Williams and Santos are probably saying thanks to the forwards, because it's the forward carries that are just denting UCLA all day long. That started, you mentioned him, Oliver Kirk, 6 foot, 240 out of Chicago, just rampaging down the field. Again, solid platform. Now Santos, fairly easy kick to the corner. Looks like he's done it. See what the assistant referee is calling here. Should be a 5-meter line out. Great attacking platform for Cade Christ and the Bruin and the Bear forwards.
Last time they were in this position was at the end of the first half, and the Cal forwards took it in for a full 7 points converted try. They take it in now. It's nicely set up. It is beautifully set up. Chris Biller's at the back of it. Is it over the line? Chris Biller handed it off, and it is a try for the Cal Bears. Who gets up from all of that? It looks like it's that big man. You mentioned him, Oliver Kirk, who gets over. And Cal, another set-piece try, Jeremy. Looking so good.
Yeah, once again, great attacking platform, clean line outtake, set up them all. UCLA's defense is really fragmented, able to touch it down with Mr. Biller. Very well done. And we just talked with Mr. Kirk, it was Oliver Kirk. And again, good for him. He was the one who started that play back in the Bears, half of the pitch. Rampaging run, well-deserved try. And the game is starting to get away from UCLA. They're not able to take advantage when they're down the Cal end, and Cal is just too destructive when they get down to the Bruins end of the pitch.
Too destructive indeed, as now Sinclair again lines up another extra 2. It's up, it's good, it's through the middle. So that is the 50 points made, the half century from Cal. It's actually inside the 55-minute mark. Is impressive stuff. Cal seem to be running away with this. And Jeremy, I'm looking at the rest of their schedule. They go to Canada, actually, against the University of British Columbia next. And they have some big games. Arizona in Arizona. Then they have Navy at Whitterfield. They have Army, though, at West Point, and then finishing off the regular season March 28th against St. Mary's. At St. Mary's, maybe their season accumulates towards probably maybe their hardest challenges, away at Army and then home, and then away at Navy. Away at Army and then away at St. Mary's.
Yeah, it's not an easy road, is it? Most teams looking at that as their finishing stretch would be, oh my goodness, how am I going to get through this? I'm sure Cal are actually salivating at the opportunity to really test themselves at the highest level. They'll get a good run at Arizona. Arizona gave them a run last year, and I'm sure Sean Duffy and his players are looking forward to the opportunity of hosting them. But as you said, I think, Army on the road at West Point will be a very difficult ask. And then, always end of season going to that big, in-state, in-territory rival, St. Mary's, is always a dogfight. And we'll be looking forward to those matches, Will.
Great turnover there. Looked like number 5, Arthur Braxton. Means that Cal get that ball back. UCLA struggling to get any sort of go forward in this second half so far. Ran Santos this time finds Finds a very good touch fine, and for a big second row, getting those kind of turnovers, God, that's impressive stuff, Jeremy.
Very impressive. Body position was amazing. Again, the physicality, their athleticism really taking its toll. And I think that the combination of the Cal go forward attack and then obviously the weather as well and the conditioning of Cal is starting to take a really big effect on the Bruins. Got a loose clearance kick there. It looks like it's actually going to go into touch. I think we just actually might have we've got a cramp here. Solomon Williams went down. I thought it might be his hamstring, but it looks as though he's just cramping. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one, Will.
We're just taking a look. I hope it is cramp because I shouldn't be laughing otherwise. Just showing you the heat. This time of year in California, it's nice. It's not usually this hot for January, so the players may be struggling. Just have a look at Solomon Williams. He was going to make sure that he saw that ball go out of play, not giving up on it, but clutching his hamstring. I wonder whether it is cramp or is it something a little bit more. If you're a Cal Bears follower, you will not want to see this man be injured. It looks like he will be okay. But at the same time, I wonder whether it's even worth taking a risk on him, Jeremy, because he is such a talisman for Cal, and you do not want him injured later in the year.
No, he's the heartbeat of the team. To me, just distance view, it looked like it was a bit more than cramping. But having said that, I think they actually might be taking him off now. Well, it looks though they're following your advice. Long season ahead, and they're bringing on the replacement scrum half to be able to get Williams the treatment he needs and deserves.
So Williams leaves the field just before the 60-minute mark. I imagine all the other players, it gave them a little bit of time to get a bit of hydration going, and well, the referee calls it blocking in the air. Free kick to UCLA. James Curtis wearing 20 for the Bears as the replacement for Solomon Williams being replaced by James Curtis. There's UCLA now. They are going to tap and go this one, so they want to just mount an attack, build some phases, opting not to go to touch. Out the back it goes. It's a good solid line speed from Cal. Something that they notoriously bring in their defense. Massive hit coming in there. Huge hit from number 8, Bryce Mueller. And there's a conversation, I think, with the referee. UCLA players not happy. And I question maybe, Jeremy, was this slightly high from the big number 8 of Cal?
Well, let's take a look at it, Will. It was good collision. The player did duck down a little bit, but it looks as though there is head-to-head contact, so the referee does have a decision to make. You can see the Bruin player immediately, grab his head, so we'll see what comes out of this. Conversation, is it going to the pocket? It looks like he's going to the pocket, so he's going to be in the naughty boy chair for the next 10 minutes.
So there you go, number 8, Bryce Mueller is going to leave the field. He shows good sportsmanship, apologises. As you said, there was an element of a little bit of mitigation because of the UCLA player did slightly duck into that. That's probably where it went from what could have been a red card to a yellow card. And most importantly, it looks as though the UCLA player is okay. So can the Bruins take advantage of this mistake?
Yeah, once again, I think it has to be a yellow with the laws of the game, and for player safety, any head-on-head contact, does usually get a yellow, often to a red. I think keeping it at a yellow because the attacking player ducked was the right decision, as you said, Will. But now they play a man down for the next 10 minutes, and their fitness will be tested a little bit more. Looks as though we might have had some more changes coming off the Cal bench, so we'll have to pay attention to that over the next couple of minutes.
Bruins finally get some passages going. It's some nice handling work from Captain Pargetta in the forwards. DiMatteo fires it out to try and use his runners out wide. Big hit again. It's a double shot as UCLA just go backwards as Cal hold this ball up. Is this going to be held? If it is held up, it would be a scrum to Cal. Can it come back to UCLA? No, it does not. Some massive collisions, held up in the tackle. Cal showing they can score points, but they also know how to show a good defense as well.
Yeah, great double tackle there. Again, that if you watch this, you know, two players, one going high, one going low, driving the attacker back, putting all sorts of pressure on UCLA. And as I mentioned a second ago, Will, looks like we do have some substitutes coming in. We've got Brock Daly, Elias Smith, and Elliot Lewis have come in for Cal. They're giving Rand Santos a break. They're giving Cade Christ and Bryce Muller, who just went off for 10 minutes. It looks as though his match is done.
So Bryce Muller, of course, being that player who is off the field, though, because of the high tackle. So Cal still a player down, but some fresh legs on the field as they got a turnover in the tackle. Previously, it's now UCLA who get the turnover in the tackle. Good work there from Caden Hartley, the 13. But then, just as the good work has been made, it's been undone by another turnover. And Cal, the Bears, get the ball back.
Yeah, turnovers are killing both these teams, but obviously it's much more impactful for the Bruins. They had a great strip there, as you mentioned, by Caden Hartley, some good go-forward ball, but then, you know, one phase later, they're getting turned over, and now 40 meters back.
Great work this from Hartley, just to hold the player up and then strip the ball in the tackle, but then was just a little bit isolated, so that's why Cal got the penalty, the turnover. And they find themselves inside the UCLA half once more. Carry in the midfield, very impressive from Chris Biller since he's been on the field. A try to his name and been around everywhere. As Cal continue to hold the ball. It had been a little bit scrappy at times, but just as I say that, Biller knocks it forward. So they will be pretty happy overall. You can't score 50 points and not be happy with a lot of aspects of the game, but for a Cal team that I know has such high standards, those kind of mistakes, Jeremy, are disappointing for their Cal.
Very disappointing, and it's something they have to clean up. You just mentioned the balance of their season that they're going through. If they make these mistakes against the teams of the caliber of Army, Navy, St. Mary's, it could be a very different scoreboard. So they've got to clean that up. That was an unfortunate knock there by Biller, but there's just been too many knock-ons, too many loose passes, loose play at the breakdown by Cal, and they have to clean it up. Today, it probably won't hurt them too much, but going forward, it absolutely could come back to punish them.
Scrum for the Bruins. They go down this near side. Good run this from Griffith. Great to see him in some open space because he hasn't had much of it so far in this game. The scrum half for UCLA. Di Matteo whips the ball away, wearing that 22 jersey. Had to come onto the field pretty early in the first half through injury. Handling onto the width, but that one's going to be knocked forward. Good identification of space by the Bruins. They had to go forward, but once more, it's another handling error. It's prevented them from really capitalizing.
Yeah, once again, yeah, if you take a look here, again, great phases here, and then just loose there, and number 8 took his eye off the ball, comes back to be a Cal scrum. We just mentioned turnovers damaging both teams, but UCLA just can't afford them. They're down by 36, and each turnover is, you know, changing the field position by 40, 50 meters every time.
Ball comes in then from the replacement, number 20, James Curtis, scrum half. There's now movement, plenty of movement, but the ball was the only thing that moved and it hit the ground, so didn't go forwards. Cal continued to have the ball. Sinclair, been impressive so far, the number 12. And it's another turnover, though, this time from the Bruins. So one turnover to the other. It's been a bit of a story of turnovers in this second half. And maybe now for UCLA, still with that numerical advantage, a reminder that Cal have that yellow card. So it's got to be now or never, really, Jeremy, if UCLA are going to try and get something on the scoreboard in this second half.
Yeah, it's absolutely a scoreboard play, isn't it? It's not a we can win the game play. The game is definitely gone from them, but they need to build some confidence. You take a look here again. We just once more the ball is loose by Cal, and then great fit body position there by the open side flanker for the Bruins to create the turnover. They just haven't been able to take advantage of many turnover opportunities they've had.
Ball comes in, but it goes over the top and brought away from Biller. Another opportunity that goes begging for the Bruins, and I know someone like Todd Thornley, who will be with those forwards of UCLA, will be so disappointed in that. It's probably for the first time in the second half they found themselves in the Cal 22, but the Cal come away with it now through the big Oliver Kirk, who's been brilliant today around the park. Another drop ball, though, in the midfield, and it's an interesting spectacle what we have now. There's a lot of try hard, but the errors are just creeping up from both sides, Jeremy. It's not just one, it's the other as well, and it's really putting a bit of effect. Do you reckon this is a little bit of fatigue, the sun, the heat?
I'm sure it's all of the above. It looks as though we've got a Cal player down on the knee right now. We might be having another substitution. Yeah, it's really, to be honest with you, Will, it's been disappointing, hasn't it? Because we were expecting the game to really flow, especially on the Cal attacking side of things, and it just hasn't happened. Having said that, they've put 50 points on the board, so it's not like they're having a bad day, but their ability to not consistently execute is, as I say, it's going to come back to hurt them later in the season. I'm sure it's the weather. I'm sure it's the aggressiveness of the Bruin defense, but Cal just can't afford to play like this.
It was when the first error came from the line going over the top from UCLA, but as soon as Cal had the ball, they try and play out of their own sort of 22 and ball out in front and just taking an eye off it right at the last moment. Miles Malone, he's scored that first try, the opening try of our game today, the big number 4. Unfortunately makes the error, so we come to the scrum. I mentioned about the schedule for Cal, looking at UCLA, similar, obviously playing those sides on the west of the conference, or of CRAA D1A. They've got Grand Canyon, GCU coming up. They've got BYU, University of San Diego. Great to see USD in D1A action this year. Credit to them. They've been so good in the D1AA side of things. It's their first year in D1A. USD will play Davis tomorrow. And then, yeah, for the UCLA, then they have a pretty tight schedule between back-to-back going Arizona and then also St. Mary's. So when you look at it, they also have some difficult games on the road and at home as well.
Yeah, it doesn't get easy for anybody. And you just mentioned USD. Credit for them to move up to D1A after doing really well the last several years in D1AA. You know, Charlie Bird and Kevin Eaton have done a great job there. They, as was mentioned, they do play Davis tomorrow. Davis actually played San Diego State today and lost. I think it was 36,
Jeremy, I'm just going to have to
the
stop you there because we've got a breakaway and it could be going all the way from 122 to the other. Great tackle from Di Matteo as he's pulled down. It was an error coming off the back of a scrum for UCLA, sorry. Cal now 5 meters out. Sinclair with the interception. That's why they find themselves so close to the Bruins try line. There's an infringement. Referee stops play. I think there could be a card coming, and it could be against a Bruins player. Just waiting to find out what exactly the referee decides, but sorry to stop you mid-track, Jeremy Ognall, but that was from one end of the field to the other. Cal making UCLA pay.
No, absolutely worth stopping for that one. Great commentary by you. Yeah, the 8-man from UCLA goes into the sin bin. But what I was just saying, just to wrap on that, the Aztecs actually beat Davis today. I think it was 36-26 around the final. And Davis, it doesn't get easier because now they go back-to-back and play the University of San Diego in San Diego. So could be a tough weekend for Davis. But you were right to interrupt. I mean, what a great breakout there it was by Cal. And, you know, I have to say that, you know, Oliver Sinclair has had a day, hasn't he?
He has indeed. This is the breakaway. It was Just a little bit of miscommunication as Griffiths, the scrum half for UCLA, was trying to come wrapping around on that scrum play, and then the ball hits the deck and it just lands into, as you say, Oliver Sinclair's hands. He's had a very strong game, the 12, and that's why they find themselves all the way up the field. The pressure then mounted to the penalty. Now this penalty mounts to a potential try-scoring opportunity. Cal so close to the line. Cal are over the line. And once again, number 19, Chris Biller, talking of a substitute impact. Well, he had to make his impact earlier on in the first half, but since he's been on the field, Jeremy Ognall, this young man has had a field day.
Oh, he's had an absolute field day. Needs to pull up his shorts, but what a performance coming off the bench. And what a great score. Once again, once you see Cal 5 meters out with an attacking line out, their execution is so simple. Again, I was saying execution simple. You know, clean catch, get the ball down, set the maul up, get the ball to the back of the maul. Biller drives home, and now 55-14 with the kick to come. So that's how Cal needs to execute consistently, and they just haven't done enough of it today.
Matching them up front is going to be, for every side that plays Cal, going to have to be one of the main things they focus on. It is a very, very strong set piece that they've got. The kick just goes wide there from Sinclair, who was, well, the reason why Cal turned the ball over from their own 22 to the opposition 22. And maybe, Jeremy, you know a lot about the sort of the college season. We have seen a lot of mistakes happen in this game. We've also seen some quality rugby. Is it still a matter of programs just finding their feet? I know there were 7s pre-Christmas, but this being very much the 15th time of this year that these guys are maybe still just finding their connections.
Yeah, I'm sure they're finding their connections. And let's be honest, Will, they're not at the business end of the season. As you just mentioned, they've converted, you know, after late October pretty much into 15s mode. Probably had a couple of 15s games in the fall, and now this is probably their well, for Cal, it's the third game of this semester. So, yeah, they're still figuring each other out. They're figuring out the teamwork, their plan of attack, and everything. But as you can see, when they click really well, and they'll be looking just to execute more effectively come, you know, late February and into March towards the playoffs.
Cal then move it to the width, whether it's the forwards or the backs. So saw Ollie Kirk have another carry. He scored tries, he scrummed unbelievably, he's been around the park wearing the number 1 jersey for Cal. He's had a very, very good game as they try and make use of another attack. Kaminsky, he's already got 3 tries in this match, keeping the ball alive on that far edge. Oh, that's wonderful play, and in the end connecting so well. Number 18, Elias Smith, gets over, sharing the try scoring. Brilliant work from Cal. The substitute gets a try to his name, but it was like pretty much everyone in that Cal lineup was involved in that try.
Yeah, well, if you take a look at this again, it was great execution. Kaminsky, look, the way he runs, he's just so smooth. And the handling here, quick through the edge, cuts back inside so he's not bundled into touch. And I was about to say, I've been really impressed by the play of James Curtis. He came on for Solomon Williams, and he's the one who's really making them go right now. He's really taken on the role of Solomon Williams really well. And now we've got Emmett Cook, I think, has taken over the duty for the conversions.
This will be an extra 2 points. Is it going to be good? It's just off the left post, so no good. It remains 60 points to 14, and as we enter the last 4.5 minutes of this game, there's been some really good individual performances. I've mentioned big number 1, Oliver Kirk. I think he's been outstanding, but there's also been the likes of a Nate Kaminsky scoring a hat-trick. Any other individuals in your mind before I put the pressure on Arsenal to do a player of the match, Jeremy, who's maybe impressed you on both teams?
Well, I think we've seen some good performances across the board. I don't think we've seen one outstanding player today who just is head and shoulders above everybody else. You just mentioned a couple of the Cal players who really stood out. I think Kirk has really done his job. I think that the whole front row, I thought Cade Christ, when he was on the pitch, was incredibly effective. You know, at the moment, I'm kind of inclined to give it to the tight head, Tuli Tuamone. I think he's done a great job, both in the loose and the tight, but we've got 3 more minutes, so let's see what happens in the next 3.
Ball of the line out goes astray, and it's knocked forward by a Cal player. So scrum for UCLA. What do UCLA take from this one? Obviously, scoreline very much not in their favour. They have shown at times some real quality, and maybe at other times it's just a lack of execution. They probably should have had another couple of tries on the board. If you're in that UCLA locker room after this, what would you be saying to them?
Well, yeah, I think you summed it up well there. They've had some great opportunities. They've got 2 scores. They've probably had the opportunity for 5 or 6 scores. They've had some really good attacking line-out positions, and they haven't been able to take advantage of it. So the big thing I'd say with them is they definitely look more dangerous. They have some good forwards, but they look more dangerous once the ball's moving through the back line. So I think they've got to compete a little bit more effectively up front to get more of a platform for the backs, because they have some dangerous runners, you know, from Caden Hartley at 13 all the way through to the fullback. When they have an opportunity and they have space, they're very, very good. They just haven't had enough of a platform to be able to build on it. So they've got to compete more in the forwards, I believe.
Totally agree with you. Also, unfortunately for them as well, losing Latimer, the fly half, pretty early, I'm sure wasn't ideal. I think Timotero's done a very assured job, the substitute fly half, considering the challenge that he's been under. Kick goes not quite into touch, so Cal keep the ball in play. And you wonder, with 2 minutes left on the clock, will Cal mount a big last attack and maybe a last try, showing the speed out wide? 21, Elliot Lewis. And he just puts a foot in touch there, so well done to keep the ball in from going into the sideline. Cal go nearly all the way there. They are more than happy to score from anywhere.
Very, very enterprising rugby. You'd think at this stage of the game they had the ball in their 22, you know, they'd be satisfied putting it to touch, defend a couple of phases and run out the clock. But no, they have to move the ball through the hands to the edge, and very close to scoring. They're bundled into touch, so Bruins have a possession, but love seeing that enterprising play for sure.
So just over a minute, UCLA get the ball in. It's taken well there by Liam Hill. They will have maybe one last attack. It's been a tough afternoon, a hot afternoon here. The UCLA campus. Cal definitely the superior team, as Sam Reed, not too many opportunities for him today. Such an attacking threat, usually, particularly on the counter-attack, but Cal's defense has been good. And another turnover, talking of which, Byron Finley fires it away. Oliver Kirk just unfortunately knocks it on. And there it is. Cal have the win. The final whistle has been blown. It is the Bears, the reigning D1A champions, winning this one in this California rivalry. It's Cal 60, UCLA 14. Jeremy, a great win for Cal. They've shown a lot of their strengths. They've also shown maybe not a complete performance, but for you, solid win, and maybe also from you, who is maybe your player of the match.
Yeah, solid win. I think an expected win. I do think that Cal, just knowing how critical they are of themselves and how high their expectations are, I think they'll be very disappointed, which is crazy to think. A 46-point win, they'll be disappointed, but they made so many mistakes that, as I say, they have to clean up towards the business end. UCLA, they tried hard. They just couldn't execute, didn't have enough of a platform. And Will, it's been a pleasure, but I think that there's so many people we could pick, but I think Nate Comiskey has to take it. A hat trick, looked very dangerous with ball in hand. So my man of the match goes to Nate Comiskey for number 14.
I think that's a very, very solid choice from you, Jeremy Ognall. On what's been a great game today here in Southern California. The Bruins 14, Cal 60. It's been a great game of college rugby, brought to you by TVX Sports Media. Thank you for everyone watching. Thank you again to you, Jeremy Ognall. I've been Will Hooley. We hope you've enjoyed this one. It's been a showcase of tries, the majority of which coming from Cal and also coming from that man, Kaminsky. He got 3 tries, a hat-trick today, and was Jeremy's player of the match. What has been a powerful, strong performance from Cal. But there were errors in there that will make them feel that they could have been a little bit more clinical. Maybe there's more to come. I'm sure there is more to come from both these teams as the season goes on. We're still only in the early part of the D1A CRAA action. Seeing all these replays and highlights of the tries from a sunny afternoon in Los Angeles. So there it is, final score. It's Cal, University of California 60, UCLA 14. Thank you for joining us on TVX Sports Video. Until next time for more college and also, don't forget, high school rugby action. Take care and goodbye.